and press conference in anticipation of the 7th session of the International Solar Alliance Assembly. I'm Aditya Tiwari. I currently serve with the Governance and Partnerships Unit at the International Solar Alliance Secretariat. The ISA is committed to developing and deploying cost-effective, transformational solar energy solutions with a particular focus on supporting least developed countries and small island developing states in their pursuit of low-carbon growth trajectories. The upcoming 7th Assembly is a testament to global collaboration, bringing together more than 120 member and signatory countries, along with prospective members, partner organizations, and other key stakeholders. This diverse gathering provides a unique platform for fostering dialogue, sharing ideas, and advancing solar deployment across the world. The ISA Assembly serves as a critical forum where nations address challenges related to solar energy, explore innovative solutions, and collaborate on initiatives that can drive the global solar transition. As the first multilateral intergovernmental organization headquartered in India, the ISA continues to engage with multilateral institutions, public and private sectors, and civil society to promote the deployment of scalable, affordable solar solutions with a particular emphasis on LDCs and SIDS. We are privileged to be joined by esteemed representatives from various missions, members of the press, partners, and distinguished guests. Before we proceed with the agenda, I would like to acknowledge and express our gratitude to the dignitaries present here today. Before we begin the day's proceedings, allow me to briefly walk you through the agenda for today's event. Following the addresses from our distinguished dignitaries, we will open the floor for the questions from the media. Afterward, we invite the friends from the press to join us for refreshments to the room on our left, while we engage with our distinguished guests from missions and embassies to provide additional insights into Assembly proceedings. Now it is my privilege to invite the Honorable Joint Secretary, Ministry of New and Renewable Energy, Government of India, Shri Ajay Yadavji, to deliver his opening remarks.
Honorable Union Minister for New and Renewable Energy, Consumer Affairs, Food and Public Distribution, President, International Solar Alliance, Shri Prahlad Joshi ji, Director General, International Solar Alliance, Shri Ajay Mathur ji, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, I am honored to welcome you all to the curtain raiser of the 7th session of Assembly of International Solar Alliance. Each year, we gather with member countries to build and sustain momentum towards solar investments and opportunities commensurate to the world's energy needs. These annual meetings are a reminder that half measures are no longer sufficient. The time has come for bold action, and solar energy stands at the forefront of that change. Solar power is our most potent tool in the fight against climate change. It enables us to reduce carbon footprints and ensure a livable planet for future generations. The International Solar Alliance's annual governance meetings serve as a catalyst driving the global community towards a cleaner, greener future by unleashing the full potential of solar energy on an unprecedented scale. The ISA has grown into a dynamic international organization guided by the vision of providing energy access, security, and transition through solar energy. To achieve this, ISA supports governments worldwide advocating for solar as a sustainable, affordable, and resilient energy source, key towards transitioning to a carbon-neutral future. One notable achievement of ISA this year has been the hosting of inaugural International Solar Festival. Recognizing the unique potential of solar energy, the festival highlighted how solar power creates opportunities for active participation, particularly among women, youth, and the private sector as well. Held in New Delhi on 5th and 6th of September, the event celebrated the transformative impact of solar energy across ISA member countries, showcasing its role in fostering sustainable development and community empowerment. The festival also showcased how businesses, universities, and other sectors are benefiting from the solar sector. Another major highlight was the CEO caucus, where we engaged global leaders in renewable energy to guide future policy directions that enhance solar uptake in the member countries. In addition, ISA launched the Solar Data Portal at the Africa Regional Committee meeting. This platform provides the data gap which often hampers progress in solar sector and equips professionals with valuable insights to foster innovation and drive solar energy deployment worldwide. In the realm of financial innovation, ISA has proposed the Africa Solar Facility, a USD 200 million initiative that will provide financing for distributed solar projects. This initiative marks a significant milestone as the first regional endeavor under the broader Global Solar Facility, which serves as ISA's flagship initiative aimed at providing innovative financial solutions for distributed solar projects worldwide. The ASF offers tailor-made and cost-effective financing solutions. This facility seeks to bridge the gap in currently underserved markets, where smaller project sizes and high perceived risks have hindered investments, despite the urgent need for clean energy solutions. The ASF will play a vital role in expanding energy access, accelerating solar deployment, and driving sustainable development throughout the continent. The ISA Assembly, as it convenes on 4th of November, will take stock of the initiatives that the ISA is working upon and consider proposals for further increasing the scope and reach of these initiatives in years to come. As we stand on the brink of 7th session of the ISA Assembly, let us remember that solar energy is not just about powering homes, it's about empowering people and communities around the world. Together, we are building a solar-powered future, one that promises a more sustainable and equitable world for all. We strongly believe that unlike traditional energy sources, solar energy has the unique ability to integrate seamlessly into our daily lives, transforming rooftops into power stations and communities into energy hubs. This proximity gives people a direct participatory role in the energy transition, driving social and economic transformation. We look forward to welcoming you all once again when you join the Assembly this year. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. May I now request Dr. Ajay Mathur, Director General of the International Solar Alliance, to provide a briefing on the ISA and its 7th Assembly.
Honorable Minister and the President of ISA, Honorable Ambassadors, members from the various embassies in Delhi, and members of the press. First of all, let me thank you for gathering here as the curtain raiser to our 7th Assembly, which, as Mr. Yadav said, would be on the 4th and 5th of November, 2024. We look forward to having you and the delegations from your countries at the Assembly. We believe that we are a force for change together. We believe that we harmonize and aggregate the demand for solar finance, for solar technologies, and therefore create the demand for research and development. We also enable the capacity that is needed in various countries to adopt solar energy. This initiative is more than just a coalition. It's a revolutionary movement in all our countries, reshaping our energy landscape and our planet's future. Under our program, we have aggregated projects which we are preparing and enabling for about 9.5 gigawatts, 9,500 megawatts. We have completed the bidding and are in the process of awarding contracts which have been awarded in Cuba, who have set up, I'm delighted that we have a representative from the Cuban embassy here. We have, with them, worked on creating an institution which would carry out auctions and sign the project, the power purchase agreements. We have also seen how this can be successful. Gone through 2 processes, and now I understand Cuba is going ahead with the next phase of 300 megawatts. We are similarly going ahead with the Ethiopian proposal for, say, 400 megawatts, an auction for that. The feasibility studies are already underway in 3 other countries. In the rooftop sector, we have made detailed project proposals in a number of countries: Comoros, Sao Tome and Principe, Bangladesh, pilot project going on in Ethiopia, assessments going on in Fiji, Nigeria, Chad, etc., etc., etc. We've also been focusing on solar mini-grids to focus on providing energy access to people who don't have electricity. And we have them under preparation in Ethiopia, in Somalia, in Guinea, and in many other nations. We are also using the IPSA facility, the India, Brazil, South Africa facility in the UN, to develop solar pump projects in several of your countries. We hope that these would provide the kind of understanding that is needed to upscale these programs at a national level. We are also glad that the local domestic capacity building under the STAR-C, the Solar Technology and Applications Resource Center, is well underway. We have 5 such STAR-C centers which are established. Further, we will have 4 more which would be operational by December of this year. These are equipped in universities or institutions so that you don't have the need for brick and mortar. We provide them the test training and the testing equipment that is needed for long-term testing of the photovoltaic modules that are imported in these countries. We look forward to operationalize 10 more centers in 2025 and to develop, and through this to develop a standardized workforce which is certified to manage the solar projects in those countries. Apart from building this capacity to manage the programs, we also need capacity at the regulatory side. And consequently, in 8 member countries, we have gone ahead with the regulatory needs assessment and are working with 2 countries as they rewrite their regulatory processes. We have had capacity building workshops on regulatory assistance in 4 countries, in which 275 people have been trained. I would also like to focus on two of our highlight projects. The Global Solar Facility, which is looking at bringing private sector capital into the countries which are members of the alliance and which otherwise don't see very much resources coming in, and enable the private sector participants to feel confident that they can invest and they would get a return by guaranteeing those investments through the Global Solar Facility. In the one pilot project that was launched, we saw a 20% reduction in the price of electricity because of the guarantees provided by the Global Solar Facility. The flip side of the Global Solar Facility is that if you get the money in, where are the projects? And therefore, the SolarX Startup Challenge seeks to source the innovative, scalable, and cost-effective solutions by identifying solar startups which have business models, which have technologies, which work and which sell. And this identification would lead them to start up and become much larger. We hope that some of these will become the Amazons of tomorrow, providing solar goods and services across their own geographies and across the world. At the 7th Assembly, we would also be launching various sets of reports. We will have a meeting of the Green Hydrogen Innovation Center, which we launched last year. We would be launching the Global Solar Data Portal, providing various kinds of indicators which on various countries which are our member states. As was discussed earlier by Mr. Yadav, we are delighted to have organized global events such as the International Solar Festival, in which we had a footfall of about 22,000 people. We had the CEO caucus, in which various developers, manufacturers, financiers associated with solar came together in conclaves in various continents and then in Delhi. At this COP in Baku, which is coming up, and in the previous COPs, we have hosted various discussions on solar energy and launched a pavilion for that purpose. At the 7th Assembly, which will occur on the 4th of November, we look forward to electing or re-electing the President and Co-President of the Assembly, and to elect a new Director General. We look forward to the new President and Co-President taking over office immediately after the Assembly. And we look forward to the new Director General assuming office at the end of my term, which is on the 14th of March next year. Consequently, we will have facilities available for elections for these positions if needed. Apart from these elections, the Assembly will also consider the budgets and work plans for the coming year, and will inter alia consider the gender equality policy and the monitoring, evaluation, and learning policy of the ISA. On the day after the Assembly, that is on the 5th of November 2024, we will discuss in a high-level conference on new technologies for the clean energy transition. We will look at how we can look at new technologies that are developing for solar cells, for batteries, and discuss the challenges and achievements of the 4 different groups of countries that we see across the world. On this occasion, we will also release the various reports which are our flagships, the 3 reports which report annual progress on technology, on investments, and on markets. We look forward to welcoming you and your delegations to the Assembly on the 4th and the high-level conference on the 5th. I thank you for your attention.
Thank you, sir. It is my singular privilege to now invite His Excellency Shri Prahlad Joshi ji, the Honorable Minister of New and Renewable Energy, Government of India, and the President of the International Solar Alliance Assembly.
Shri Ajay Mathur, Director General, International Solar Alliance, Shri Ajay Yadav, Joint Secretary, MNRE, all the dignitaries who are present here, guests, friends from media, I welcome everyone to this curtain raiser of the 7th Assembly of the International Solar Alliance. We are very, very happy to have you join us as we begin the countdown for the 7th Assembly. The details have been explained by the Director General and Shri Ajay Yadav. I do not want to go into detail, but I can only tell. The 7th session of ISA will be held from 3rd to 6th November 2024 at the Bharat Mandapam, New Delhi. Leaders from across the world will convert during the forthcoming 7th Assembly of ISA. to promote the widespread adoption of the solar power. As the president of the International Solar Alliance, I take this opportunity to call upon ISA members, signatories, and prospective countries to unite on the third threefold agenda at the upcoming assembly. One, empowering the member countries to adopt the solar energy as the energy source of choice. Make energy access universal by supporting the solar entrepreneurs to scale up the local solutions. Third, mobilize the finance to speed up the solar deployment. We shall approach these agenda through the ISA's objectives. One is amplified collaboration for creating investment opportunities and generating the millions of new green jobs. Increased cooperation on power trading, technology standards, financing regimes, and research and development. Informed and collective action to build the climate leadership in the countries. As you all know, in the battle against the global warming, one of our most powerful weapons is widespread adoption of solar energy solutions. In this regard, the International Solar Alliance was established as a joint initiative between India and France to address the climate change. Through initiatives like this alliance, India has taken significant strides in progressing the global climate action under the Prime Minister, Shri Narendra Modi ji. Owing to our intent and action, India is today recognized globally for its leadership in renewable energy, climate action, and sustainability. With India and France, ISA is also moving forward. Today, the ISA holds observer status at the United Nations General Assemblies, highlighting its global significance. With 120 members and signatory countries, ISA underscores the commitment of the nation to harness the solar energy in the fight against the climate change. We are actively promoting the adoption of solar energy among the member countries, especially those with abundant sunlight but limited access to the technologies and funding. This focus has helped many of our African partners to further strengthen this clean energy movement. As a president, I say I am immensely proud and would like to congratulate the co-president France on bringing this alliance to the forefront of the global energy transition. Our efforts and the commitment are paving the way for the sustainable future for all. We are fully aware that international collaboration and the actions are just not an option, but a pressing necessity for all countries to come together and address the challenges in the energy sector. As a global community, we are at a critical point in the journey towards adopting the renewable energy. In this crucial decade for the climate action, the ISA and its member countries are playing a vital role as we work towards the 2030 agenda and its sustainable development goals. Their efforts will ensure the energy access for everyone, enhance the energy security to support the economic growth, and facilitate the energy transition. Let me also assure you that the ISA is firm in its commitment towards the member countries. We are providing extensive support, capacity building initiatives, insightful analytics, robust regulatory guidelines. The goal is to create an ecosystem that attracts investments and ensures the sufficient energy supply to meet the global demands. I am happy to emphasize that through these forums, India is positioning itself as a key player in the global efforts to combat the climate change. All this while, we are simultaneously working to achieve our own energy goals. In fact, just last week, India has achieved 4 lakh installation under PM Surya Ghar Muft Bijli Yojana. This is rooftop solar, which we have planned to connect to 1 crore, 1 billion households. With the almost 91 gigawatt of installed capacity in the solar power, India has added approximately 17.44 gigawatt solar PV capacity between January to September 2024. Solar power constitutes to 20% of India's total installed power capacity, showing the growth rate of more than 26% compared to the previous year. We must always remember that the International Solar Alliance emerged from the shared vision of harnessing the solar energy's vast potential. Solar power is leading the clean energy transition because it is adaptable, adjustable, and affordable, and allows for the localized energy generation. The impactful work of ISA has played a crucial role in improving the key social issues like employment, livelihoods, climate change, biodiversity, gender equality. This inspiring progress should motivate everyone. Next year, that is 2025, marks a significant milestone as we will celebrate a decade of this landmark initiative. During the 7th Assembly, let us lay a groundwork to enhance the impact and outcome of the ISA even further. I look forward to welcoming you all to this upcoming 7th session of the ISA Assembly. Thank you. All the best.
Your Excellency, the Honorable President, thank you so much for joining us this afternoon. We understand and acknowledge the demands placed on your schedule. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, the Honorable Minister has an urgent pressing engagement. If you may and would kindly join us in thanking him yet again for joining us this afternoon. I would request all our friends from the media to kindly stay back. The press conference shall be chaired by the Honorable Joint Secretary, MNRE Government of India, and the Director General, ISA. Before we proceed, I would like to emphasize 3 key points. To our friends in the media, please raise your hand and a microphone shall be brought to you. Kindly introduce yourself and the media house that you represent before posing your question. And we kindly request that the questions remain focused on the topics relevant to the International Solar Alliance. Thank you for your kind consideration and understanding. Sir.
Hello everyone, I am Rishi Kala from the Hindu Business Line. I have a question for the Honorable Joint Secretary and the Honorable Director General. Sir, I'll begin with you first. During your speech, you mentioned about the COP29 in Azerbaijan. It essentially comes a week, the ISA 7th Assembly comes a week before the COP29. Day before yesterday, European Union states in a press conference which was reported by Bloomberg, they spoke and they said that one of the critical issues at COP29 would be climate financing. In that, the climate minister of France, and it is important because France is the co-chair of ISA, she has indicated that the burden of financing should not be only on the selective developed countries, it should be shared by others, the indication being China. Now, ISA, as you have yourself in your speech said, that financing will be a critical issue. What the European Union states say that a lot of European Union states are undergoing fiscal budget deficits and their financial strain is higher and global demand is lower. This is a very critical time for ISA as we complete a decade in public life. Finances have been an Achilles heel. So at a time when finances look more strained than ever in the middle of geopolitical crisis, how are the nation states going to steer ISA vis-a-vis financing, because that has not been as it was intended or as it was expected?
Thank you very much, Mr. Kala. I think this is a very good question from where to begin our discussion. I will stress the point that there is an adequate amount of capital available for solar and other renewable sources in the world. When we did a meeting with separately we met with 150 different investment agencies, we found that the annual investment in renewable energy that they were capable of was about $1 trillion a year. What they were actually investing together, all of them, was about half of that. So the money is there. The question is, why does the money not flow to many of our member countries? It flows to some countries. The OECD countries, China, and 4 other developing countries together get 86% of this financing. When we looked at it, we found, and we talked to the investment agencies, we found that the greatest problem was that they feared that they would not get a return on their investments. So then we looked at the loan repayment rates in the developing countries. When we looked at all of Africa, for example, we found that the repayment rate was more than 98%. In other words, less than 2% of money was not returned that had been borrowed for solar. Yes, it starts from a low base, of course it does. The issue therefore is, how do we get more money flowing? Because this is a perceived risk. What I have therefore created, what the Assembly created and we are in the process of creating, is a guarantee fund. It's called the Global Solar Fund, and it guarantees investors who invest in a small solar in Africa to begin with. We will expand it to other places, but right now to begin with it's in Africa. And note that it is for small projects that affect you and me. So it's about solar pumps, it's about solar mini grids, it's about solar rooftops, it's about solar cold rooms. In other words, those kinds of things which provide income as well as access to energy. We believe that the guarantees provided by this, like the example that I gave of the solar mini grid, 15 megawatts, 4 different mini grids in the Democratic Republic of Congo, the guarantees brought down the price of electricity by 20%. It is this kind of impact that we look forward to the Global Solar Facility to have. And it is this kind of guarantees that we believe that in this when the countries are facing straitened times, that could help in providing the infrastructure that is needed for monies to flow into the countries where it has not been flowing.
Mr. Yadav, sir, India stands at a unique position. We are the fourth biggest renewable energy market vis-a-vis solar. What role do we see India playing next year onwards as we complete 10 years? India's position as our country which is installing renewable energy is fast rising globally. Our PLI schemes are in action. We'll see in some years integrated manufacturing facilities coming up. So what role do you see the country playing going ahead at ISA?
Thank you. So as you know, India, as you rightly said, is one of the fourth, now currently ranked fourth in the energy installations, renewable energy installations. And we have grown very fast. So over the last decade, from solar was around 2.5 gigawatt only. Around a decade back, it was 2.5 gigawatt. Currently, it is 90 gigawatt. And it's growing fast. Again, we have to reach around 2. Our target is that when we reach 500 gigawatt of renewable energy by 2030, the solar would be around 300 gigawatt. Wind, we have, again, a decade back, it was around 20 odd gigawatts. Currently, it's nearing 50 gigawatts. Similar is the case with other sources of energy. And in our quest towards 500 gigawatt, it is not only the capacities, the PLIs that the government is having. We are having PLIs on solar manufacturing. We are having PLIs on hydrogen as well. So on different facets of renewable energy. And here, the kind of investments required would be very, very significant for India as well. So not only in the country, but otherwise, overall, as you said, at COP and at various other platforms across the globe, at UN, COP, and other international platforms, financing is one of the key aspects of this energy transition that's currently underway. And ISA will definitely play a role, and energy access, mobilization of finance, and generation of renewable energy are one of the key agendas of ISA. Thank you.
Okay, before we move ahead, one question per person, and please keep your questions very brief. I saw Manas from Mint, his hand was up. So we'll go to Manas and then we'll come to you, ma'am. Yes.
Hi, sir. This is Setu from Reuters. So as we go ahead, we know that there have been few PLI schemes that are in place for encouraging the renewable energy. So going forward, the Power Secretary recently said that the country is exploring, schemes, production-linked incentive schemes that could help in terms of the transmission sector is concerned. So going forward to next year, so is the MNRE actively looking at in terms of expanding the PLI into the more nascent things which need a lot of attention. So I'm just asking this any sort of plans in terms of expanding the PLI schemes into the RE sector and the power sector. That's talks have been going on.
Try to answer this, but let us keep our discussion
let's focus on
limited to
ISA rather than
ISA.
India.
So there are PLIs, there are incentive-linked schemes for manufacturing of solar cells, modules. Then there are incentives for manufacturing of electrolyzers, for production of hydrogen. Then there are incentives for offshore wind as well. So there are a large number of schemes, and currently we are again now focusing on not only achieving the targets that are under this PLI scheme, but also kind of giving a further push to the sector. And transmission will also be one of the parts which will come into play. So we are working on all of the whole ecosystem of renewable energy.
Sure, ma'am. Please go ahead. If you may kindly introduce yourself and the media house. Yeah.
Good evening. I am Livia Rodriguez from Prensa Latina, Cuba. My question is related to the project in Cuba. Could you provide more details about it and what benefits it will give to the Caribbean nation, this project?
Thank you very much. we were delighted to work with the government of Cuba. In the process, we met and worked with a large number of Cubans, both on the policy side as well as on the electricity user side. What we did was we looked at, I think, a total of 175 sites where today electricity is generated from fuel oil, imported fuel oil. So the biggest benefit that they would get is that the hours of the fuel oil usage would dramatically drop. And solar would be used in these sites, or a fraction to begin with, but ultimately all of them. With solar being used, you will see the amount of imported fuel oil decreasing, and therefore, hopefully, it would also lead to a lowering of the electricity prices. Thank you.
We have some of our media colleagues seated right behind. If we may have the camera focused on the person who's asking the question, and yes, can you please pass on the mic?
Yeah.
Please
Yeah,
introduce
hi.
yourself.
Yeah, hi. I'm Agam Walia from the Indian Express. I have a question for Dr. Mathur. So I want to ask you if ISA is working on, building supply chain resilience amongst member countries. And on a related note, there have been concerns around China dumping modules across the world. On the one hand, it could sort of harm, energy security, but on the other hand, it could also lead to faster deployment in some countries, with cheaper modules. So I want to know if ISA has any stance on the same.
ISA had completed a report, I think late last year or early this year, on the manufacturing chain. And what you're right that the vast amount of solar wafers, solar cells, and solar modules come out of China. Now, by itself, that's not too much of a problem, except that the concentration makes it a problem, because what happens is that affects supply chains. So solar panels coming out and being supplied to other countries, there are all kinds of choking points that occur. What we have noticed is that for the last 3 years, every year, for about 2 months of the year, there are no solar panels available in Africa. And this is at a time when gas prices are also increasing. So you see that people do not have access to gas-based electricity, and nor do they have access to solar. As we look to the future, we are seeing at least a 3 times increase in the demand for solar electricity. It could be as high as 8% if the plans for solar vehicles and for green hydrogen go ahead. This would imply a diversification, a geographical diversification of manufacturing. That's the first point. The second is that when we looked into the economics, we found that solar, if you have solar cells, if you import solar cells and make solar modules out of them, that is cost-effective and economical almost anywhere in the world if you have adequate demand. Consequently, we look forward to building the capacity in various countries where they can attract the financing of companies. Remember, this is cost-effective. The problem is in making solar cells. Solar cells, to be competitive, need short-term incentives. That is why you have the Inflation Reduction Act in the US, you have the Performance-Linked Incentive Program in India. We look forward to more and more of our member countries providing the kinds of incentives that are necessary to bring the manufacturing of solar cells onto their shores. With these happening, we would see a geographical diversification in manufacturing occurring as well. We look forward to various companies and various countries to look forward to see how we can diversify the manufacturing base. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Akanksha Mishra from The Print. My question is also to Mr. Mathur. So the media docket talks about the global solar facility and the aim to operationalize 50 million USD by COP29. Since COP29 is in a month, could you give us any updates? Is the plan still on, and has 50 million USD been operationalized?
Sure. As far as the Global Solar Facility is concerned, we have already got commitments from 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 entities has already been received, which is totaling to about $39 million. We are looking forward in the next few weeks to receive another $15 million commitments. With that, we hope that once it crosses the 50 million mark, we would operationalize it and then look forward to at least the Africa part of it to be initiated possibly before the end of this year. We have identified at the Solar Festival the investment manager for Africa, which is a private sector investment company, and we look forward to them bringing the base capital that is needed for the projects and then using the guarantee where needed in order to attract more.
Hello. Hello. My name is Jitendra. I am from the New Indian Express. My question is to Mr. Yadav and Mr. Mathur that there are many news and lots of reports are that the way we are expanding our solar field that is also leading to a land conflict, not only in India and other parts of the world. So how do you see, ISA see this conflict, or government of India is also seeing this conflict to address this challenge, the way we are expanding our solar thing?
Can I take the question first, and then I'll like. There are several parts to the answer. The first is we need to see how we can create pockets of land where solar can be put up. This is important because what it also means is that you can plan transmission from those pockets, and people who win contracts can go into those pockets. Now, I'll give you an example for India. All the electricity needs that we have in 2070 could be met by solar installations only in the Thar Desert. Now, obviously, we don't want that. We want it to be spread all over the country. But what it tells you is that the places where availability of land is there, that is where the new projects will go to. So this is important. The second part is that we need to ensure that land is not taken away from useful purposes, particularly agriculture. And that is why we are strongly pushing agrivoltaics. That means you have agriculture on the ground and you have solar panels on top, so that the same land produces both food and energy. So instead of becoming a fight between land and energy, the two work together. There is a lot of issues to be resolved. For example, what crops will grow in the shade below? How will you connect a huge number of these agrivoltaic panels to the grid? But those are issues that will be resolved as we go along. So this is work in progress. The third issue, which you did not specifically mention, but one of the land issues is that of wastes. Wastes is going to be a big issue. But the way we look at it is that 25 years from now, when the current panels become waste, at that point of time, the technology that will be used for solar will be very different from the technologies by which today's panel have been built. So using them for waste, using the waste for panels itself may or may not happen. But what we need to do is to make sure that they're completely dismantleable. All the parts can be taken apart. That's the kind of recycling that we would like to see, so that they can be used in whatever means and whatever purposes that they need to.
So, hi, this is Shalini Sharma from PSU Watch. So OSOWOG was launched in 2021, but it's only in the last 1 year that we have had commitments or agreements coming in about connection of transnational grids. So I just wanted to know what are the discussions that ISA is planning to hold on this front, and can we expect some more announcements?
We have started having discussions with a number of neighboring countries. We have also commissioned EDF, Electricité de France, to carry out a study of how much electricity can flow, solar and renewable electricity can flow from different parts of the world to other different parts. So for example, electricity from the Gulf countries can flow to India when it is evening in India and it's still afternoon in the Gulf states. Similarly, when it's afternoon in India and a lot of solar electricity can be generated, it's evening in East Asia, and so on and on. We have started looking at possible connections with the Gulf countries, UAE and Oman, to be specific. We are also looking at the possibility of interconnections with Saudi Arabia, for example. We're also looking at whether we can do it as subsea cables or as on-land cables. On-land obviously has a lot of geopolitical problems in this area. So we would like to look at all of these options and therefore inform the countries, because at the end of the day, the connection is between two countries. And it is those countries which have to decide what will be the kinds of regulatory processes that would establish the charge for the use of the facility. It has to be expensive to cover, but not so expensive that it makes solar electricity non-viable.
In the benefit of time, we have just enough time for one last question. We have one, I see a hand raised here. Okay. Great. Thank you all for your thoughtful questions and for engaging in this very important discussion. On behalf of the International Solar Alliance, we sincerely appreciate your time and participation in today's press conference. May I kindly request all our colleagues from the press to join us for refreshments in the room right to my left, while we engage with our distinguished guests from